It's interesting how communication seems like something we do with our mouths, and over time, begin to recognize that communication has almost nothing to do with speaking. What you say matters, and the space you speak from matters far more. Today, as you listen with your eyes open, you might begin to notice the subtle places within yourself that organize your presence before a single word is spoken. And that noticing begins to reveal a deeper truth. Influence doesn't start with the message. It starts with the messenger. You see, there's a moment right before words arise where something inside you decides the tone, the intonation, the direction of what you're about to say. And most people never feel this moment. It's quiet, almost invisible, like a soft ripple beneath the surface of thought. And yet that ripple carries more influence than the words that ride on top of it. You might believe communication begins with speaking, but it begins in the silence before speaking. That is where your presence forms. That is where intention shapes itself. That is where influence takes root. And as you begin to notice that silence, you might discover that your presence has more depth than you realized. There's an old story about two doors in a quiet village. Behind the first door was a man who spoke beautifully. His words were polished, well-crafted, persuasive. People admired his eloquence, and they listened to him with their ears and forgot him with their minds as soon as they stepped away. Behind the second door was a woman of few words. She spoke softly, slowly, gently. Her sentences were simple, almost unremarkable. And yet, when people left her presence, something stayed with them. A sense of clarity, comfort, direction, courage. Some said she spoke wisdom. Others said she listened deeply. And a few whispered that she didn't communicate with words at all. She communicated with presence. You see, people heard the man, and people felt the woman. And influence lives in what people feel. There's an atmosphere you create just by existing. The way you sit shapes the meaning of your voice. The way you breathe organizes your tone. The way you hold your inner space determines how your words land. in another person. People rarely remember what you said, and they remember how they felt in your presence. So as you breathe now, calmly, naturally, you may feel your body settling into a new awareness. Your presence is communication, not after you speak, before. When your words go one way and your emotions go another, people sense it. When your tone says yes and your energy says no, people feel the mismatch. When your face smiles and your presence tightens, people notice the tension, even if they don't comment on it. People respond not to the words, and to the alignment beneath the words. Alignment creates authenticity. Authenticity creates resonance. Resonance creates influence. You may think influence comes from perfection, but influence emerges from congruence. When what you feel, what you think, what you say, and what you intend all move in the same direction, people follow that direction without effort. Every conversation has two levels: the outer exchange of words and the inner exchange of presence. People mirror your state far more than your sentences. If you speak from calm, others soften. If you speak from truth, others become honest. If you speak from grounded certainty, others begin to feel clarity inside themselves. You may believe people resist your words, but often they resist the tension beneath the words. And when your internal world settles, conversations begin to settle with you. Integrity isn't about rules. It isn't about mortality. It isn't about performing goodness. Integrity is a kind of gravity. It's the weight of truth inside you that organizes your communication without effort. Because when you speak from integrity, your presence becomes steady. Your tone becomes sincere. Your energy aligns. Your influence strengthens. Integrity is not a behavior. It is a state of being that shapes behavior. And as you feel into yourself now, you might notice a subtle gathering of energy in your center, as if your presence is beginning to consolidate into something clearer, stronger, more defined. And every sentence you speak carries intention. Even a simple greeting has a direction behind it: to connect, to reassure, to influence. to soften, to lead, to settle, to understand, or to keep distant. Most people choose their words and forget to choose their intention. When intention is unconscious, communication feels reactive. When intention becomes conscious, communication becomes powerful. You don't need to force influence. You embody it when your intention aligns with your presence. So as you breathe now, notice how your awareness has shifted once again. You've begun to sense the layers beneath communication, the energy, the tone, the presence, the intention. And in the coming days, you may find yourself speaking less and being understood more. You may find people listening with a different quality of attention. You may even find conversations flowing with less effort and more impact. Not because you changed your vocabulary, but because you changed the space inside yourself from which your words arise. Influence begins before language. Communication begins before speaking. Integrity begins before action. And as your presence deepens, your world responds. So prepare for part 6. Vision, purpose, and future self-alignment, where communication becomes creation, and your future begins to take shape from the inside out. For now, take a gentle breath and notice the new resonance settling quietly within your voice.